Greetings, Acolytes. Continuing on with my ramblings about Blood Angels today, we will be learning about their history, going over major events from the Great Crusade up to the modern day. While I can't go into detail about every event, I will try to at least mention as much as possible. If I forget something, feel free to yell at me in the comments section. Without further ado, let the ramblings begin. Initially, during the Great Crusade, the Blood Angels were called the Revenant Legion because of their sheer brutality. On Terra, they were recruited from the Wastelanders and Savages. This shaped their culture into one of pure savagery. Upon seeing this, the Emperor sent them to Neptune, hoping they would die, bringing the world into compliance. But when the Emperor arrived, he saw that they had survived. After this, they began to be feared by the mortals of the fledgling Imperium, seen as monsters and called the Eaters of the Dead. This was caused due to the Red Thirst, a genetic flaw akin to vampirism that creates an addiction to flesh and blood and heightens aggression. This tendency and reputation almost led to them being called like the 2nd and 11th Legion, were it not for the discovery of their Primarch Sanguinius. Sanguinius was found on Baal Secundus, one of the 2 desert moons orbiting the planet of Baal. An angelic figure with giant wings, he rose to lead the tribe that found him and eventually the entire moon. Upon meeting his sons, he wanted to save them. He saw the monsters that they undoubtedly were and wanted to help them be better. As their gene father, he also bore the curse of the Red Thirst. He was also blessed with psychic foresight, allowing him to see multiple futures and how to make the best of them. He foresaw all that his sons could be and set about helping them. In order to help them cope with the thirst, he committed them to the arts such as sculpting, painting, music, and swordsmanship. Over time, he turned a legion of murderous cannibals into a legion of artists and appreciators of beauty. He made them into noble warriors proud to defend the Imperium. However, the curse could never be removed as it was inherent to them all, so when one of his sons fell too far, he called them personally to ensure that the curse remained a secret. One time, the Primarch Horus witnessed one such execution, and swore Sanguinius he would never tell his soul, a promise he kept. Sadly, this is Warhammer, so good things must end horribly for everyone. Eventually, Erebus stabbed Horus with a corruption dagger, sealing the galaxy's fate as his soul was sold to chaos. Before Horus openly went traitor, he sent Sanguinius out to bring another world into compliance on the other side of the galaxy to prevent the Blood Angels from being able to interfere. Now mind you, up until this point, no one in the Imperium really knew what Chaos was or that it even existed. So when the Legion first ran into the demons, they thought they were just funky Xenos. Soon, however, they would realize this is not the case. Once they were in system, the Navigators and Astropaths were almost all incapacitated or killed, leaving the Blood Angels deaf and unable to flee or receive news. This meant they have no idea about the Horus Heresy's beginning. They were goaded by a greater demon of Slaanesh to come and free the human captives, and upon the planet's surface, Sanguinius met Ka'Bandha, a bloodthirster of Khorne. Ka'Bandha proposed to Sanguinius that he betray the Emperor and join Khorne, and Sanguinius rejected him. After a fierce battle, Sanguinius was severely wounded, and the Blood Angels retreated. Several more battles occurred after over the fate of the Blood Angels and whether or not they would join Khorne. Eventually, this led to Sanguinius being presented with a sarcophagus filled with flames called the Rage Fire. If he were to lay inside it, he would save them from the Red Thirst, and he would become a servant of the Blood God. Before he could get into the coffin, however, one of his sons, a junior apothecary named Meros, stopped him. Throwing his gene seed and progenoid to his father, he threw himself into the Rage Fire, preventing Sanguinius from doing so and enraging Ka'Bandha and Khorne, as it meant that the Blood Angels were out of their reach. Eventually, Ka'Bandha was sent back to the warp, swearing that he would be the death of the Blood Angels. After that, the signal from Rogal Dorn of the Imperial Fist was received, having the Blood Angels return to Terra to defend against Horus. Sanguinius had the Cygnus system cleaned out and placed beacons to ward off any future visitors to the system. On the way back to Terra, the Blood Angels were cut off in the warp and stranded within the realm of Ultramar. It was here that Sanguinius was crowned Emperor of Imperium Secundus, when he, Rabute Gilliman, and Lyon L. Johnson believed that the Imperium had already fallen and the Emperor was dead. After Conrad Curz's trial, it was realized that because of Sanguinius's and Conrad's visions of the future, that the Emperor still lived, and so Imperium Secundus was disbanded and everyone tried to make it to Terra as fast as possible. The Ultramarines and Dark Angels held back the heretic forces so that the Blood Angels could make it to Terra in time for the siege. During the siege of Terra, the Blood Angels joined up with the White Scar's Imperial Fist to defend the Imperial Palace. 3 times did the traitors come, and 3 times were they repelled, before on the 4th assault, the Chaos Titan legions finally managed to break through the walls. The Loyalists were then pushed back to Eternity Gate. There Sanguinius stood, facing off against the entire Chaos force while buying time for the Loyalists to retreat inside. He faced his brother Angron and felled him by tearing out his butcher's nails, causing him to explode. He then faced Kalbunda once more. Tired and injured, Sanguinius was cast down from the heavens and knocked unconscious. He woke once more soon after, and he then broke Kalbunda's back over his knee and threw his husk into the Chaos Horde below, banishing him once more. After this, Eternity Gate was finally closed. With the Space Wolves, Dark Angels, and Ultramarines now barreling towards Terra as fast as they could, Horus decided to take a gamble. He lowered the shields of his flagship and goaded the Emperor to face him. Knowing that this would be the best opportunity the Loyalists would get, Sanguinius, Rogal and the Emperor, along with Custodes and many veterans of all the legions, teleported aboard Horus's flagship. Sanguinius knew what came next, but he went anyways, knowing that this would be the best possible future. The groups were immediately separated, with Sanguinius and some of his sons being brought the closest to Horus. Making his way to his Forsaken brother, Sanguinius and Horus fought, and despite his injuries and fatigue, Sanguinius kept up with his brother in martial combat, forcing Horus to rely on the psychic powers of the dark gods. Horus took his time killing Sanguinius, making his death excruciating and causing his death to send psychic backlash to all his sons across time and space. In this moment, the Black Rage was born. All across Terra, the sons of Sanguinius collectively lost their minds, rushing forth and tearing a bloody path through the traitor legions. Though the battle had not been won, it marked a major turning point in the defense of Terra. While the Blood Angels who survived would eventually come down from this curse and learn to adapt it to their culture, this was when it was born to them for the first time and for the rest of their history. The Emperor found his way to Horus, and when he entered the chamber, he saw his son's lifeless body. Sanguinius's body was later retrieved by the Sanguinary Guard and eventually entombed within the vaults below their fortress monastery on Baal. After the heresy came the Second Founding. While the Blood Angels did comply with the Codex, they were devastated by the loss of their Primarch and most of their legion. Eventually, Azkaellon, head of the Sanguinary Guard, would be named Chapter Master of the now Blood Angel chapter instead of Legion. Azkaellon was set about dividing his brothers into their new chapters, led by fellow warriors of incredible renown that he trusted to guide the Blood Angels' successors into the future. The Blood Angels played a role in several major events over the last 10,000 years since the heresy, and while I can't cover everything in detail, I will try to touch on the big ones and some of the smaller ones as well. In 996 M40, the Sicoris tragedy occurred. A Space Hulk appeared in the Sicoris system near Baal. The Blood Angels chapter mustered at full strength to cleanse it. While inside it, they discovered it was filled with tens of thousands of gene stealers in hibernation. While the Space Hulk was eventually cleansed, only 50 Blood Angels remained afterwards, including Dante. In 589 M41, another Space Hulk, the Sin of Damnation, was discovered by a rogue trader near Baal. 80 veterans in Terminator armor then cleansed the vessel of the supposed 40,000 gene stealers within it on their own, as a way to atone for their failure nearly 600 years ago. In 798 M41, 3 Space Hulks appeared over Baal, filled to the brim with orcs. While 2 of the 3 Space Hulks were destroyed in space, one landed on Baal itself and then disgorged thousands upon thousands of orcs. The fortress monastery itself was almost lost, were it not for the 41 dreadnoughts stationed there at the time. In 941 M41, the Second War for Armageddon raged. Chapter Master Dante went there himself. Due to his seniority, Marnius Calgar of the Ultramarines and Tushan of the Salamanders deferred command to him. Dante and the Blood Angels led an assault into the Orc back lines, seriously injuring Ghazghkull during the fight. In the mid-900s of M41, a civil war erupted within the Blood Angels. The Spear of Telesto, one of Sanguinius's personal weapons, was recovered from orcs within Segmentum Obscurus. A marine who secretly had a warp seed implanted within him by an Inquisitor picked up the spear and his body rapidly began mutating, becoming a visage of Sanguinius himself. A civil war was fought between those who believed he was Sanguinius Reborn and those that did not. It was eventually revealed to be a plot by a corrupted Inquisitor to make the Blood Angels fall to chaos. During 998 M41, the Cryptus campaign and Third War for Armageddon began. The Blood Angels sent the Third Company out to Armageddon to provide support. Meanwhile, the Blood Angels and nearly all their successor chapters began mustering to stop Hyde Fleet Leviathan as it was preparing to consume Baal. They evacuated and exterminated worlds within its path, harassing the hive mind at every turn to delay it for just another day. In 999 M41, 4 companies were sent to Cadia to assist in the defense against Abaddon's 13th Black Crusade. And then at the end of 999 M41, the devastation of Baal began. All Blood Angel successors, except for the Lamenters, too devastated to provide assistance, answered the call to defend the homeworld of their Gene Father. Chapters were spread across the planet's surface as well as both moons. The fortress monastery was expanded and ancient segments lost to time were rediscovered. Mortals were taken from both of Baal's moons to the planet's surface to assist in the defense and act as bait for the hive mind. Eventually Leviathan made its way to Baal, and all hell broke loose. When Cadia fell and the Cicatrix Maledictum tore across the galaxy, Ka'Bandha broke back into reality upon Baal's moons once again, furious that the Tyranids were going to kill the Blood Angels instead of him. He almost cleansed that moon himself, making a monument of Tyranids' skulls so massive it could be seen from Baal itself before fizzling back into the warp. During the warp storms caused by the 13th Black Crusade, the system of Baal was lost in the warp for nearly 70 years in real space, but only a few weeks for the Blood Angels. Nearly all of the Blood Angels were dead. Almost every chapter, with maybe a company from each of them, if even a full squad, survived. In space, they did not fare much better. The Blood Angel's salvation came in the form of the Indomitus Crusade, having heard a distress signal from Baal right before the Shadow and the Warp cut the Blood Angels off. Leading the Crusade force was Lord Guilliman himself. After this, Dante was awarded the position of Lord Commander of Imperium Nihilus, the shitty half of the galaxy left in the 13th Black Crusade's wake. After this, the Primaris Marines were introduced to the Blood Angels. While they were improvements and suffered the curses to a lesser extent, they were not free of them. They had no idea of the true nature of the Black Rage, and came to a rude awakening when they began to fall to it. At some point during M42, Dante met up with the now awakened Lion, and helped lead him to his sons during the Arks of Omen campaign. There, the Blood Angels assisted Dark Angels and their successors against the forces of the ruinous powers. As of now, the Fourth Tyrannic War rages on. The future of the Blood Angels is uncertain, but now it is much more hopeful than it was before. No longer on the edge of annihilation, they set out to defend Imperium Nihilus and drive back the forces that threaten the people of the Imperium. Thank you all so much for watching. I know this video seems a bit jank, but I was trying to cover over 10,000 years of history in a very short time frame. I know there are hundreds of events I skimmed over or missed or maybe got some points wrong, so feel free to yell at me about that in the comments section below. I now stream weekly from 4 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv/BrotherCenterX, link in the description below. I also have a Discord server available down below as well. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, please consider liking or maybe even subscribing, as your support goes a long way to helping me make these videos. As before, thank you all so much for watching, and take care out there.